Now let's continue to use some polygon modeling tools to add some more shape to our capsule. So to get the grid out of the way, if you want to move that or visibly remove it, you can go to Filter, and let's just turn off the grid for now. And so we want to do a couple of things here on this. One thing I want to do is kind of add a little shape to the side. So I want to kind of extrude off some of that. So I'm going to go to select our object, go to our polygon mode, and I want to select the polygons that I actually want to extrude off. So I'm going to go ahead and select these polygons all along the side here. Okay, and let's do the same thing over here on this side. So I'll shift, select all of those. So we've got the same polygons selected on both sides. Now let's go ahead and do a bevel. So we did a bevel on an edge, and we did an extrude and an extrude inner. A bevel is going to allow us to do an extrude and then also change the scale of that. So we'll go ahead and bevel that out. So you can see it's not only extruding it out, but it's also giving it a little bit of that inner bevel. You can go ahead and change the extrusion amount here in our options, as well as the offset. So we can make that a little bit smaller, make the extrusion a little bit less if we want to. All right. You can also add subdivisions, change the type. We'll go ahead and leave this as is. Once we're done with our extrusion, you can still go in and manipulate those faces since you still have those selected. We can scale them out if we want to bring that out a little bit further. Okay, whatever we want to do. All right, let's also extrude in some steps down here, going up into the what will eventually be the canopy. So let's go ahead and just take both of these, and let's do an extrude inner. Okay, and then we'll do an extrude and push those back into the surface. Let's do the same thing up here. Select both of these, do an extrude inner to give a little rim there, and let's extrude it back into the surface. Okay, let's also go ahead and start to figure out where our canopy is going to be. So I'm going to select the polygons where I think this canopy ought to be. So I'm going to go ahead and just select all of these. It's a good sort of starting point. And I want to kind of make it come up to the top here. So something like this. Okay. Now I want to create a little bit of a rim around this first. So I'm going to go ahead and do an extrude inner to give us a little bit of a kind of a strip of polygons around that canopy. Okay. And now what we can do is actually separate this out into a new piece. So I'm going to go ahead and right click. You can see we're still working with the same polygon object. So I basically want to create a new object with just these polygons. So I'll right click, and maybe you can see this. Try to get up as high as we can. It's going to be all the way down on the second section. And you can't really see it on this menu, so I'm going to go up to Mesh, and let's go to Commands, and it's split is what we're looking for. So let's go ahead and split, and now you can see that if I select this new object, it only contains those polygons that we're going to use for the screen. If I go back to this one, you can see that I still have those polygons selected and they're still there. So I can go ahead if I want to and delete those. Okay, let's take a look at what happens when we delete polygons here on a polygon object. So I'm going to turn off the visibility of our new object here by clicking the little stoplights. So green means it's visible, red means it's not. So this looks fine. The polygons have been deleted. If we now go to point mode though, you can see that there are a lot of spare points. So the points that were involved in this polygon are still there. I can select each one of these and delete them. Okay, but I can also go in and optimize. If you go into the options, you can see we can have unused points selected. So I can say OK, and that'll get rid of those points. So anytime you delete polygons from an object, you want to check that, and maybe you need to go in and optimize. So we'll go ahead and turn that back on. Okay, let's also come in here on this main object, and I want to add a little bit of shape to the top here. So let me select these polygons, and let me actually just select the middle row, and I'll go ahead and extrude those straight up, maybe back a little bit. You can maybe do a little bit of scaling on this, kind of flatten it out just to give it a little bit of shape up there on the top part. All right, now we also want to add kind of an area for a landing platform to come out of on the bottom. So let's go ahead and select that. So I want to actually shape this a little bit first. So I'm going to go into the side view. So I'm just middle clicking, and I'm going to go to the side view. Let's go to point mode. Let's use a rectangle selection. And let's go ahead and start to pull down some of these points and just add a little bit more shape to the bottom, so it doesn't have to completely match up with this sort of smooth cylinder shape. So just kind of add a little bit more shape down here. So maybe something like that. Can come up in here and pull this up and in. Okay, now let's go ahead and select some of these polygons here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and select these polygons coming down, maybe one or two more. So something like that. All right, now let's go ahead and split those off. So again, you can't see that, so I'm going to go to Mesh Commands and just do a split. And then I'll turn the visibility of that off. Go back here, delete those, and again, go to point mode and optimize. Oop, I turned off the wrong one, but that's okay. So now we've got three pieces here. We can rename these, so we can call this something like pod main. You can always change this later. We can call this something like landing gear, and this we'll just call canopy for now. All right, so we've gone ahead, added a little bit more shape using extrude. We have cut out some different pieces like the canopy, extruded in some steps, cut out an area for landing gear. So we're getting there. So again, trying to just use some of the simple tools available here in Cinema 4D to just build this up slowly but surely. So the next thing that we want to do is go in here and start to build some geometry inside this interior. Okay, we're underneath the canopy. So we'll go ahead and tackle that in the next lesson.